Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you want to capture the sharpest photos possible, well, you're in the right place. And in this video I'll be sharing with you some tips and tricks that will help you capture some stunning high quality images. First and foremost is to invest in a good sturdy tripod, and also for extra stability, hang your camera bag on the hook it provides. It's mostly used for landscape photography, long exposure shots, and if you're in low light situations. Next is choosing the right apertures. It can greatly affect the sharpness of your photo. The general rule of thumb is stopping down about 2 to 3 stops from the maximum aperture size of that lens. For example, an f4 lens, you would set it to around f8 to f11. This will give you a wide enough depth of field and be at its sharpest point. However, keep in mind that going too wide or too narrow an aperture would affect the depth of field and the sharpness of this lens. Experiment with different aperture sizes to find a sweet spot for your lens. Using directional light from a single source can add strong shadows and highlights in your photos. This type of light can add depth, texture and contrast to your images, making them more visually appealing. Some common sources of directional light include the sun, a window and an artificial light source. When shooting with directional light, it is important to pay attention to the direction and angle of the light. For instance, if you're shooting with the sunlight, then if it's directly above, it can create some unflattering shadows. It's always best to wait to the golden hour, which is just after sunrise or just before sunset. And if you're using an artificial light like a speed light, it's always best to control the direction with a softbox or an umbrella. These tools can help create more natural looking directional light and enhance the micro contrast of the image. Overall, using directional light is a powerful technique to create sharp and detailed images. But it is important to use it judiciously and pay attention to the direction and quality of the light. Accurate focusing is crucial for a sharp image. Use your autofocus system or manual focus to ensure that your subject is in perfect focus. And if you're using the autofocus system, try using the single point focus mode and focus that on the most important part of your subject. If your subject is moving like in sports or wildlife, then use continuous focus mode. And for landscape photographers, in some circumstances focus stacking might be an option to use. And using a fast shutter speed can help freeze motion and eliminate camera shake, resulting in a sharper image. For instance, if you're shooting with a 50mm focal length, then you would set your shutter speed to 1/50th of a second. And for crop sensor cameras, then you would double that to 1/100th of a second. However, a minimum shutter speed of 1/500th of a second is a good starting point for shooting sports or wildlife. Of course, the exact shutter speed would depend on the speed of your subject, lighting conditions and other factors. And while using a higher ISO can help achieve a faster shutter speed, it can also introduce noise and reduce the sharpness of your image. Try using the lowest ISO possible to your shooting conditions. Most cameras nowadays have the facility for image stabilization, and lenses also have inbuilt image stabilization. This is great for handheld shooting, but when you're using a tripod, be sure to turn it off because it can actually introduce blur into the image. Obviously, keeping your lens clean is so important. Removing those smudges and dust particles will help keep you getting sharp images all the time. So always keep a cleaning pack for your lens and camera with you at all times. And shooting in RAW format gives you more control in post-processing, as it captures more data than a JPEG photo, allows you to introduce more contrast and manipulate the photo a lot more in Lightroom or any other post-processing software that you use. And there you have it. By following these tips and tricks, you'll be well on your way to capturing the sharpest photos possible. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it the thumbs up and subscribe for more photography tips and tutorials. And thanks for watching, and happy shooting, and I'll see you in the next one.